Prologue. A young boy is currently kneeling next to a bed with his father laying on it. Dad. Come on. Please. Get better. A 10-year-old brown-haired brown-eyed boy said while crying over his father. Iseei. Don't cry. What did I tell you? You mustn't cry. It shows weakness. The man with pitch black hair that's darker than the night itself, and eyes that were as inhumanly red. But Dad. Iseei said. I know. Fine, you can cry. But promise me this. Once I'm gone, only cry when you know you're safe, or when you lose someone you love. Because I fear I won't be here for much cough cough. Isei's father was cut off when he coughed up blood. Dad. Hang in there. Iseei yelled. Now let's take it back a few days earlier to see where this really started. 3 days earlier. Knock knock. I got it, Dad. Iseei yelled as he ran to the door. Make sure you check who it is before you open the door. Isei's father yelled. As Iseei opened the door, he was surprised to see his teacher from school standing there. Sensei. What are you doing here today? Iseei asked. Oh, Iseei, my boy. I'm here to talk to your father. May I speak with him? Isei's teacher told the boy. All right, follow me. Dad. Sensei is here. Iseei yelled to his father. Bring him to the dining room. I'll prepare some tea. Isei's father yelled back. So Iseei brought his teacher through the house to the dining room. The house wasn't exactly massive, but it definitely wasn't small. It was a 2-story house with 2 master bedrooms and 3 guest bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Nothing fancy about it other than it being on the outskirts of the city. Ah, Mr. Hideout. It's so nice to meet you. Isei's teacher exclaimed. Oh, likewise. Mr. Isei's father, who currently has brown hair and brown eyes like Iseei, said. Phillips, you can call me Phillips. Mr. Phillips told Isei's father. All right, Mr. Phillips, what can I do for you? I hope Iseei hasn't been causing any trouble. Isei's father said. Oh no, he's probably one of the best. Well-behaved and on the top of his class in both academics and PE. The teacher said proudly. Then what did you want to talk about? Isei's father asked. Oh, just regarding Isei's future and a few schools who are interested in boarding him. It won't take long. Is that all right with you? Oh yes, go right ahead. 15 minutes later. But still, it must be hard taking care of Iseei by yourself. Being a single parent these days. It must be hard. Mr. Phillips said. Oh no, I got used to it. And Iseei helps a lot around the house, so it isn't that bad. Isei's father said. Oh, I guess it wouldn't be that hard for you, Mr. Hideout. Or should I say, Satan. Mr. Phillips' face contorted into a scowl as he finished. But in a split second, Mr. Phillips brought out a blade and flung it towards Iseei, who was sitting between his father and his teacher. Isei's father caught the blade inches in front of Isei's face, drawing blood from his hand. Isei's father's hair quickly turned black and eyes turned red as he glared at Mr. Phillips. Isei's father quickly threw the blade across the room and started to walk towards Mr. Phillips. As Mr. Phillips saw this, he tried to move but couldn't. Iseei. Go in the other room. Isei's father told the still shocked Iseei. But Iseei tried so tough, but no words would come out. Iseei. This isn't up for debate. Go. Now. Isei's father yelled. To say Iseei was scared would be an understatement. First of all, he almost died seconds before, and now his father yelled at him. His father has never yelled at him for as long as he could remember. So Iseei got the message and left as quickly as he could, leaving his father and his teacher in the same room. Now then. Where were we? Isei's father said, with his aura getting darker with every word. Let me go, you bastard. Now why would I do that? You come into my house. Try and hurt my son. You should have realized by now. You're not in charge here. You think I'm worried? That blade that cut you, it was poisoned. Mr. Phillips yelled. You think measly poison can kill me? Iseei's father asked mockingly. You said it yourself, I'm the true Satan, the one and only. The first. And the last. There is no one who can be me. Iseei's father yelled with power resonating through every word. You must be an idiot if you think we've been sitting idly not thinking of a way to kill somebody that might have your power. Even we understand how dangerous somebody with your power could be. You have killed thousands of people and barely broke a sweat. And after you supposedly died in the Great War, we've been making a way to kill anyone that might even have a fragment of your power. But guess what? You show up on our radar after years and years of being missing. What could be a better way to test it? Mr. Phillips yelled back. Once Mr. Phillips stopped talking, Iseei's father started coughing uncontrollably. You bastard cough, you're going to feel hell cough, Iseei's father said with blood coming out of his mouth. Who sent you? Iseei's father barely asked as he started to crush the man from the inside. Fuck you. Mr. Phillips said as he spat out blood. Suit yourself. Any last words? Go to hell. Mr. Phillips said. Don't worry, I'll be following you there just to make you feel something worse than hell. Iseei's father said as he lifted his arm towards Mr. Phillips. Oh, one last thing. Iseei's father said. What? Mr. Phillips asked. See you in hell. Iseei's father said with a demonic grin on his face. And as soon as he finished, blood started to pour out of Mr. Phillips' mouth and eyes. And as soon as he stopped moving, Iseei's father brought his hand up once again, and out of thin air a mini cyclone of blood appeared. And he sent it towards the dead body, and once it dissipated there was nothing left, just a swirl of blood on the floor. He then cast a barrier around his house that would stay up until he died, no matter how weak he was. But soon after, Iseei's father collapsed to the floor. Iseei. Cough, come here. Iseei's father barely yelled. What happened, Dad? What happened to you? Where's Sensei? He's gone. Now please help me get to bed, cough, I'm not in the best of shapes. Iseei's father explained. It took Iseei a few minutes to get his father upstairs and to the master bedroom, but in the end he did it, so he gently laid him on the bed. Iseei. Cough. What, Dad? Iseei frantically asked. I don't think I'm going to last for too long. I need you to prepare yourself. I can't take care of you much long minus cough. No. Please. Dad. Don't leave. I'll call the ambulance. They can help. Iseei said, starting to cry. No, Iseei. Sadly, they can't do anything about this. Iseei's father said as he brought Iseei into a hug. And for the next 3 days it would only get worse. Back to current time. Dad. Hang in there. Iseei yelled. Iseei tried everything to help but nothing worked. His father's condition was getting worse. Iseei's father started to puke blood this morning too. Come on, Dad. You can make it. Please. Iseei. Come. Closer. Iseei's father beckoned him closer. What? Iseei said with tears streaming down his cheeks. Top drawer. Left side, cough, Iseei's father whispered as he pointed to the dresser across the room. As Iseei went to the drawer and opened it, he saw a ring box. When he opened the box he saw 2 rings, one was black with gold markings and one was white with red markings. He closed the box and quickly brought it to his father. With shaky hands Iseei's father opened the box and put the white ring with red highlights on Iseei's left middle finger, and the black with gold highlighted ring on Iseei's right middle finger. They were too big for Iseei's finger at first, but a magic circle appeared above each ring and they shrunk to fit Iseei's fingers perfectly. Dad. What are these for? Iseei asked. There isn't much time for me left. So I can't explain with words. Come closer again. Iseei's father commanded. As Iseei got closer, Iseei's father brought him closer until their foreheads were touching. And as soon as they touched, a black and red magic circle appeared. But in Issei's mind he saw millions of pictures flash by, but he didn't know what they meant. And he felt power surge through him. What? What was that? Issei asked. Issei. I have given you all my knowledge. And all my power. What? What power? Why? Don't you need it? Issei asked. No, Issei. Sadly. My time has come. Take this too. Issei's father said as he undid his silver cross earring and gave it to Issei. What? No. 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 Please don't leave me. Dad. Issei. I love you so much. I always will. Issei, I want you to know you will never be alone. I'll be there right behind you every step of the way, Issei's father said. Dad. Issei said as he hugged his father. Issei. From now on. You are no longer Issei Hideout. You are. Issei Satan. The son of Satan. My sole heir. Dad. Issei said, still crying in his father's arms. You are. My son. I love you. Issei's father said as the light left his eyes. No. Dad. Issei cried over his dead father's body. As Issei sat there mourning over his father's body, some unwanted guests advanced towards the house after seeing the barrier dissipate. They then started to break down the door and rushed into the house. Issei heard this and quickly crawled under the bed, hoping the intruders wouldn't find him. Hurry, get the body. And find his son. We cannot afford to let him escape. A man with a gruff voice yelled as he burst into the room. Issei laid there shaking, not daring to move as more people burst into the room behind the man. They then went to Issei's father and put him into a body bag. A minute later they took the body out and left the room. Well, that's what Issei got. He breathed out relieved for a second, but soon regretted it. Torch the house. The same man with a gruff voice yelled down the hallway as everyone left the room. He took one step outside the room and stopped. He sniffed the air and gave a maniacal grin. He then walked behind the bed Issei was under and stopped again. Issei by this point in time was about to pass out. He held his breath the entire time, hoping nobody would see him. But that was short-lived as he was forcefully dragged out of under the bed. No. Issei screamed at the top of his lungs as he kicked and flailed back and forth. You could hide. We wouldn't be that stupid considering how big of a threat you are. I mean, think about it. Did you think you could live a normal life when your own father was Satan himself? The man yelled as he grabbed Issei and tried to incapacitate him. Let me go. I don't know what you're talking about anyways. Issei yelled as he tried to escape the man's grasp. Oh. So your dad didn't even tell his own son what he is? Pathetic, and he died protecting you. Disgusting. The man said with venom growing in his voice. Shut up. He's better than all of you guys combined. You're the disgusting ones. Issei yelled. Issei tried to escape over and over again unsuccessfully until he bit the man in the arm, making him drop Issei. Arg. You little shit. Get back here. The man yelled, clutching his arm where Issei bit him. Issei ran as fast as he could out of the room and down the hallway that was slowly getting engulfed in flames. But that didn't last long though, as he was cut off by both sides by a group of the intruders. Now boy, why run? I just want to pay back what you did to me. You know, an eye for an eye. Except you know what they say. Pay them back tenfold. The same man who was bitten by Issei said. Issei looked back and forth trying to find a way out, but couldn't find one at all. The group closed in on Issei with weapons drawn, about to apprehend him. But as soon as they were 15 feet away he saw it. The only way out. The window. He didn't have time to think about it, so he leapt through the window, getting large shards of glass stuck in him. But as soon as he hit the ground and rolled, he felt stronger. And the pain didn't hurt as much. So he ran straight to the tree line. The pursuers were close behind, but luckily he came to this forest a lot with his father, so he knew where some passages were. And so in the cold dark night iseei was alone, clutching the only thing of his father's, his silver cross earring, and the 2 rings on his fingers. A week later, iseei was currently sleeping in a cave he found while escaping his pursuers that day. For the past week he could never truly sleep, his pursuers, whoever they are, never stopped chasing him. And so iseei was sitting in the cave alone in the dark, shivering and hungry since he never really got a full meal. The closest thing he got were some berries and plants he was taught by his dad he could eat if he ever got lost. But all of a sudden iseei is forced back to reality as he heard a branch break and a few footsteps coming closer. He finally saw a shadow making its way to the cave he was hiding in. He had 2 choices: either lay down and hide with no way of protecting himself, or make a run for it as soon as he steps into the cave. But failure was not an option. He quickly picked up a rock he found on the floor and prepared to run. As soon as the shadow stepped into the cave, iseei rushed him, using the darkness to his advantage. The pursuer saw him at the very last second. But it was too late. Iseei leapt into the air and smashed the rock into his pursuer's head, causing the man to scream in agony and fall back. Iseei didn't waste any time as ran as fast as he could out of the cave and through the forest. "Arg! I found him! Chase him!" Iseei heard somebody yell. And so he was on the run once again. He kept running until he stopped on top of a hill where there was no cover. "It hurts. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I want it to stop." Iseei got to himself as he tried to catch his breath. But out of the tree line all around him multiple people came out. He had nowhere to run this time. This was the end. "Hey kid. Nice seeing you again," the gruff-voiced man from the mansion yelled. But iseei didn't answer. He tried thinking of any way out of his predicament. "What happened? Cat got your tongue?" the man asked mockingly. But nothing. Iseei couldn't find any possible way out of this. "Well, it doesn't matter now. The boss himself said we don't need you alive. You've caused enough problems. We can just experiment on you once you're dead," the man yelled. "Now get him," the man yelled as multiple people started running towards iseei. As iseei stood there clutching his last memento of his father. "This is the end. No. I don't want to die. Dad wouldn't want me to die. He wanted me to be strong. But he's gone now." Iseei got to himself. They kept getting closer and closer, weapons drawn, not even going to attempt to capture him. "Dad. Please. Help me," iseei yelled. As soon as he yelled, that time itself seemed to stop. And in the next second all of the pictures that flashed in his mind from before flashed again. Only this time, it all made sense. And almost immediately after, his hair turned jet black and the irises of his eyes turned inhumanly red like his late father's, and once he finished changing, a massive surge of power revealed itself for a split second. But in that split second it was felt throughout the entire world. Once everyone saw this, they all stopped and stared in awe and fear. "What are you doing? He just changed a little. He's still the same kid. Get him," the man who seemed to be the leader yelled. They then continued their march towards the now calm iseei. As soon as they got within 20 feet, iseei lifted his arm, and all of them started to cry in agony. For a second the men at the bottom of the hill didn't know what was happening. But then one of the men who went to attack iseei turned around. "Help him minus," the man tried to say, until blood started to flood out of his eyes and mouth. After everyone who rushed towards iseei stopped moving and was seemingly dead, everyone stood there staring in horror. "Why, you bastard! That was my brother." A blonde-haired man rushed towards iseei with a sword in hand. But as soon as he brought the sword down towards iseei, he stopped mid-swing. And all of a sudden he started to scream in agony, and clutched his chest in agony. Everyone else could only watch in horror as his chest literally exploded. What? I got he was never taught his father's magic," the leader said, horrified. "It doesn't matter. He's still just a child. Everyone. Attack. Those who survive will be granted everything they could possibly imagine. And the one who brings me his head will get something they can't possibly imagine. The gruff-voiced man yelled. Lucifer Castle Underworld. A middle-aged man with silver hair is seen sleeping on what seems to be a throne, but is suddenly forced awake as he senses a power he hasn't felt for years. Lord Satan. The middle-aged man yells as he stands up and stares in disbelief at nothing with his silver eyes. Graphia. The man yells. Yes, Lord Rizevim. A maid with silver hair and eyes wearing a French maid outfit asked. Go to these coordinates in the human world at once. Whoever it is, bring him to me. Do not use force for any reason either. We want him on good terms. And if he doesn't trust you, tell him his real name. The now called Rizevim Lucifer commanded. His real name? Graphia asked. Satan. Now go. We don't have time. Surely others have felt this power too. They are probably making their move as we speak. Rizevim yelled again. I will depart at once. Graphia exclaimed as she left the room to teleport away. Euclid. Rizevim called for. Yes, Lord Lucifer. A young man with silver hair that is tied in a braided hairstyle, and wears a silver robe with detailed accessories asked. Prepare to depart when Graphia gets back. I have a feeling things are going to get a bit more fun soon. Rizevim said with an evil smirk. Back to iseei. A boy no older than 10 with jet black hair and irises that were inhumanly red, bathed in the blood of his enemies as he stood on top of a hill. But as you look at the big picture, you will see at least 100 if not 200 bodies at his feet. Some were still intact but others. Let's just say it wasn't a pretty sight. Iseei then started to walk down the hill over the dead bodies without batting an eye. But as he got to the bottom of the hill, a silver magic circle appeared. As Iseei got on guard to fight another battle, he saw the beauty that was Graphia. Who are you? Iseei asked. A child. Graphia asked herself, totally oblivious of what was behind Iseei. I am Graphia Lucifuge. You are why minus Graphia stopped in her tracks as the moonlight illuminated everything, letting her see him bathed in blood and all of the mutilated bodies behind him. I'm Iseei. Who? Oh no. Iseei Satan. Iseei said, not putting his guard down for a second. Satan. This kid. Is Lord Satan. No. There must be a mistake. But. Then who did all of this? Graphia got to herself as she was still too shocked from the scene in front of her to speak. So. Are you here to try and kill me? Or maybe kidnap me? No, the real question is. Are you an enemy? Iseei said as all of the blood from the dead bodies started to float and go into the air and combine. As it was finished, there were multiple massive cyclones of blood behind Iseei ready to attack at a moment's notice. What? No. I'm here to help you. My master sent me here to help whoever sent that surge of power. Trust me. My master got it was Lord Satan, but he said if it isn't, I should bring whoever it is. And he said don't bring you by force no matter what. He wants to help you and be on good terms. Graphia yelled, trying to stop Iseei, cause quite frankly she was scared shitless. I see. Then I guess I can go with you, Iseei said as he reverted back to his normal brown-haired, brown-eyed form and passed out. Graphia quickly caught Iseei before he hit the floor and prepared a magic circle to take him back to Rizevim. This kid is so young. Yet he did all of that. No wonder he passed out. He must have overexerted himself. Graphia got as she carried Iseei through the magic portal. At first it was dead silent, as there was nothing there but dead bodies. But soon after, hundreds of magic circles appeared everywhere, all different types. There were demonic, angelic, and fallen angelic. Ugh. No wonder we had to get summoned. The dirty devils and holy pricks are here. A random fallen angel exclaimed. Right back at you, you horny crow. A devil yelled. Please don't put us at the same level as these insolent fools, an angel said this time. The bickering went on for a few minutes until they heard three voices yell, "Enough!" One voice was a man with shoulder-length crimson hair who was seemingly a devil. The other was a man with black hair with golden tips with 6 pairs of jet black wings, and last but not least was a man with long blonde hair and 12 golden angel wings. Michael Azazel. It's nice to see you here. I do hope we don't have to fight here. But I'm guessing you came for the same reason as us. The man with crimson hair said. Yes, Sir Zix, I would like to resolve this peacefully if that's possible. The man with 12 golden wings who is called Michael said. Same here. The man with black and blonde hair and jet black wings said. Well, why don't we get to business? Do any of you have any idea what that was? And what did this? Michael asked as he pointed to the dead bodies everywhere. Unfortunately, we are in the same boat as you. But that seemed a lot like a certain devil who went missing in the Great War. Azazel said as he looked at Sir Zix. And I'm the same here. Why would I rush here with a mini army behind me if I knew what it was? Sir Zix said, not happy being the culprit. Well, none of that matters now. It seems somebody beat us to the chase. Michael said. Indeed. Well then, how about if any of us finds anything we tell each other? It doesn't seem like something we should hide considering all three of us are here. Sir Zix asked. Sure. I agree. Well then, now that we have an understanding, I think we all have work to do. So I bid you all farewell. Michael said as he and his troops started going back through their magic circles. Guess the fun's over. I must go too. See you. Azazel said as he left too. Lord Satan. Is it really you? Sir Zix got. Let's go, boys. We're done for today. Sir Zix yelled as he and his troops left. Lucifer Castle Underworld. Are you finally going to wake up? Iseei. Rizivim says aloud as he looks up from his book and sees that Iseei is starting to wake up from his slumber. Huh. Where am I? What happened? Iseei groggily says as he sits up from the bed he was on. You, my boy, are in the underworld. And what happened? Is what I'd like to know. Rizivim asked. What? Who are you? How did I get here? Iseei yells as he backed away from Rizivim. If you must know, Iseei, I am Rizivim, live in Lucifer, direct descendant of the original Lucifer. And how you got here is because I sent my maid to find you after you let your power surge. And before you ask how I know your name, it's because my maid told it to me. Rizivim tells the young boy. And why are you helping me? Iseei asks. Because first of all, you used magic that is very similar to someone I used to know. And you told my maid your name was Iseei Satan. Rizivim explained. And how should I trust you? Everyone else was hunting me because of my father. How do I know you aren't going to do the same? Iseei asked. Wait. Your father? Yes. My father told me he was Satan a week ago. Iseei answered. Where is he? I need to see him. Rizivim yelled with hope in his eyes, but that was short-lived as he saw Iseei start to tear up and stare at the floor. He's dead. Iseei answered with tears streaming down his cheek. What? Satan was killed. Please, my boy, I know it must be hard, but how did he get killed? Rizivim asked, wanting an answer. The man said it was a poison. Poison. Normal poison can't kill someone like Lord Satan. They said they have been working on it since this thing called the Great War specifically for someone like him. Iseei said. I see. That's a shame. Rizivim said as he sat back into his chair. And what about you, Iseei? What did you do that made Grafia so scared of a mere child? Rizivim asked. I killed them. Killed who? My enemies. But I didn't just kill them. I mutilated them. Butchered them. Iseei said, clutching his head. Tell me, Iseei, were they going to kill you? Or capture you and make you feel something worse than death? And did they not kill your father? And trust me, Iseei, you are a devil. You can get rid of anyone you dislike. Raizivim explained while staring straight at Iseei. I guess. Then it's alright. Anyone who is going to take a life should be prepared to lose their own life. And you are a devil, Iseei. Anyone who takes from you should get punished. They killed your father, they didn't deserve life. Raizivim exclaimed. I see. Tell me, kid. Do you want to continue your father's legacy? Raizivim asked Iseei. I don't know. Well, think about it. What would make him proud? No. I will make my own legacy, Iseei said with a determined look in his eyes. That's the answer I was looking for, kid. Raizivim exclaimed. Then let us go. I will show you what your father left you. Raizivim exclaimed as he stood up from his chair. Iseei got up and quickly looked for the cross earring from his father, only to find it in his pocket. Before he left, he looked in the mirror and put the earring on his left ear. Once he finished getting dressed and so on, he left the room and followed Raizivim down the long hallway until he entered a throne room. Euclid. Graphia. Raizivim yelled. Lord Lucifer. Lord Raizivim. Ah, there you are. We are going out for a bit, and I would like it if you accompanied us. Raizivim explained. Very well. Graphia and Euclid answered in sync. Euclid stared at the kid in curiosity while Graphia in slight fear. I mean, when do you see a kid who was covered in blood and supposedly killed at least 200 men just get brought into your estate? That's not that common if you didn't know. And poor Graphia. She saw the carnage Iseei made in person. Alright everyone, by me, I'll teleport us. Raizivim exclaimed. And so with a silver flash they were teleported elsewhere. Forbidden Land, Underworld. Lord Raizivim. Why are we in the Forbidden Land? Graphia asked. Because we are taking Iseei here to his new home. Or I should say, his father's old home. Raizivim explained. They walked for about 10 minutes in the extremely overgrown forest, but was brought to a halt by a large fence and massive gate with a red spiral in the middle of it. It's a dead end, how do we get in? Euclid asked. I don't know. Hey Iseei, do you know? Maybe you put your power into it. Raizivim guessed. But for some reason it just clicked with Iseei, he knew exactly what to do. So he brought his hand up, and a small cyclone of blood appeared behind him, but he quickly sent it towards the red spiral on the door. And with a loud clank and other metal objects getting moved around or broken. But at last the door was open, and the barrier surrounding the land opened up. You see. We can count on Iseei here. Raizivim said happily as Euclid simply nodded. They then walked through the walkway that had overgrown vines and plants everywhere. And then by multiple fountains, of course none of them were in working condition though. But then Iseei saw it. A castle bigger than most cities and taller than most skyscrapers. Whoa. Yeah. They walked for another 5 minutes down the path. But as every second passed, the castle just seemed to get bigger and bigger. Tell me, Graphia, Euclid, do you know why this land is forbidden? Raizivim asked the siblings and nodded Iseei because he already knew his answer. No. No, I wasn't informed. Well. After the Great War, when Lord Satan went missing, this land was made into a somewhat sacred land, kind of the same way as the angels have their churches and so on as their sacred grounds. Of course we don't get any benefits from it though. So nobody is allowed here simply because we left it untouched in respect for Satan. And also nobody could break the barrier around it. Raizivim explained. I see. But isn't the punishment of being here death? Euclid asked. Euclid, my naive boy. Do you not understand? This land is now Satan's again, or should I say his son's, and showing how he opened the barrier to let us in shows enough he's entitled to it. Raizivim said while pointing at Iseei. Oh. Exactly. Mr. Lucifer. Iseei asked. Yes, Iseei. You said this was my father's. And now it's mine. Is that true? I'm going to be living here? Iseei asked. Yep. And if anyone thinks differently, I'll come here personally to back you up. Raizivim said with a grin. Wow. All of this is mine. Iseei exclaimed with stars in his eyes. Finally, after another 30 minutes of walking, they stopped in front of two massive doors that went into the castle. Finally. Iseei said. You better get used to this because this is your house now. Raizivim said. Yeah. They all went on a tour even though it was more of an adventure than a tour considering nobody knew where anything was. They walked all around seeing massive golden statues of random mythical beasts like griffins, dragons, unicorns, pegasus, basilisks, chimeras, and just about every creature you could think of. They passed a few libraries that could surpass some of the underworld's greatest libraries. And that was seeing them separately if you put them all together. Well, let's just say it could bring up some controversy. That's how much there was, and how priceless they were. Alright, I think once we find the throne room, I think we should take our leave. We have some business to attend to and should leave Iseei here alone so he can get used to his life here. Raizivim said, but noticed Iseei get a depressed expression on his face as he said leave Iseei here alone. So they kept walking and Raizivim got on what he could do to help the kid, and then a light bulb appeared above his head. He had an idea. And so they kept walking seeing multiple kitchens, many vaults of precious jewels and metals. And a lot lounges and storage and guest rooms. But soon after they passed the fifth kitchen they found the throne room. Wow. This is bigger than your throne room, Lord Lucifer. Euclid said. No duh. As sad as it is to say, Satan was of much more importance and power than the four Mayu, Raizivim told Euclid. The four Mayu? Iseei asked. Oh yes, I forgot, you don't know who they are. The four Mayu, or should I say the four Satans, are the current leaders of the underworld. Raizivim explained. Satans? Why do they use my father's name? Well. Before the Great War there were four original Satans. Or well, they were called Devil Kings back then. But soon after your father went missing after the war, everyone came together to agree that out of respect, the leaders of the underworld would be put into the class of Satan in honor of your late father. Raizivim explained again. I see. So my father was a big deal. Very much a big deal, Iseei. You should be honored to be his son. He was one of the first devils. Even the four Devil Kings were named after all of the names he's been called over the years. Raizivim exclaimed. And what were those? Well, there is Lucifer, which was his first name before he left heaven, then there is Leviathan, then Asmodeus, and last but not least Beelzebub, Raizivim told Iseei. Wait. Lucifer. Are you him? Iseei asked hurriedly. Oh no, he has long passed. I'm his son. Raizivim answered. Oh. Well, that's fine. So what's this great war? Iseei asked. It's getting late, I'll have to explain another time. I'll come back to teach you magic, and explain the basics for devils in a few days. Raizivim said as he looked at his watch. Oh. I see. Well, goodbye. Thank you for helping me. And everything. I'll make sure to pay you back somehow. Iseei said as he waved goodbye. Oh. I almost forgot. Raizivim yelled. What happened, Mr. Lucifer? Iseei asked. I almost forgot about your housewarming gift. Raizivim exclaimed. A housewarming gift? Iseei asked. Yes, I almost forgot about it too. I got about while we were walking around here. Raizivim told Iseei with a grin. Oh no, Mr. Lucifer, you have done plenty already, I surely couldn't accept anything else. Iseei explained. Iseei, my boy. You should know you are a devil now, it's okay to be selfish. And plus it's rude to decline a gift. Ryzevim said. I see. Fine. I accept. Good. Now Graphia. Ryzevim called for Graphia. Yes, Lord Ryzevim. Graphia asked, totally clueless of the situation. From this day on I am not your master. I am putting you in iseei's care. Ryzevim declared, making everyone in the room to widen their eyes in shock. What? Lord Lucifer, are you sure? Euclid asked. Positive. Iseei here needs somebody to help him and keep him company, and Graphia needs somebody to open up to. So it's a win-win situation. Ryzevim explained. Graphia tried to say, only to be cut off by Ryzevim. No buts, Graphia, this is an order. You are now iseei's personal maid. All of his orders are absolute, not even I can override his orders. Your lineage or not, I do not care. Ryzevim exclaimed. Yes, Lord Ryzevim. Graphia said in acceptance. Very well, then I must be off. Euclid. Let's go. Ryzevim as he summoned a magic circle. Bye, Graphia. Iseei. Euclid waved goodbye. And so in a silver flash they were gone, leaving Iseei and Graphia by themselves. Graphia. Sorry, I didn't want to force you to be here. I know you would rather be with people you know. And not somebody you just met. Iseei said. Oh no, it's not that I don't to be here, it was just a surprise. Graphia quickly answered, trying to cheer up Iseei. Oh, I see. Well, that's good, I don't want to force you to stay here. But I'm glad. Iseei said. Glad? Graphia asked. This house is too big for just me. And I don't want to be alone again. Iseei said as he thought about his father. Well, don't worry, master, I am here for you now. Graphia said as she bowed to her new master. Master. Yes, you are my master now. Graphia explained. Oh. Well, could you call me something else? Is Lord Satan alright? Graphia asked. No. Can you just call me Iseei? Iseei asked. What? No, I cannot do that, Lord Satan, I am your personal maid, I must call you something formal. Graphia exclaimed. I see. Iseei said with a downcast expression. Unless you order me to call you Iseei. Graphia said as she noticed her master's expression. Really? Yes, all orders from you are absolute. Graphia explained. Then Graphia. For your first order I order you to call me Iseei. Iseei declared. As you wish, Iseei. Graphia said with a bright smile. Unknown laboratory underworld. A handsome young man with light blue eyes and green hair that is slicked back is currently sleeping on a lab table. Sir. A lab assistant asks. Huh? What happened? The green-haired man asked groggily. I'm sorry to wake you up. But somebody entered the Forbidden Land. At first I thought it was just some young devils exploring, but then they went farther than I've ever seen somebody venture in. I don't know if it's a glitch in the system or what. The assistant explains. I see, I'll go check the system. The green-haired man says. He then got up and went to a room with a bunch of monitors displaying most of the underworld. But on the main monitor was the Forbidden Land. At first there were 4 signatures, but now it seems 2 have left. The assistant explained. But mysterious green-haired man stood there in shock. Not for the fact that 2 went missing, simply for the fact at how far they went into the Forbidden Land. Simply because nobody could break the barrier Satan placed there. And yet, there are 2 signatures in there, and there are no glitches in the system. Sir. The assistant asked worriedly. I'll be back. I'm going to go check it out. Tell all of my meetings for today that I had an emergency summons. The green-haired man yelled as he prepared a magic circle. In front of the Satan territory underworld. Everything is still intact. The barrier's still up. the green-haired man said as he tested the barrier. Well, only one thing to do, the man said as he walked up to the gate. Does this thing even work? The green said to himself as he looked at a doorbell on the side of the gate. Only one way to find out, huh? He said as he pressed the button. Ugh. Just a glitch, huh? And I really though, minus the green-haired man tried to say, only to be cut off by a silver magic circle appearing inside the barrier. And out of the barrier stepped Graphia. Ajuka. What can I do for you? Graphia asked in her normal stoic manner. Huh. So Rizevim, that old bastard, was the one to break the code. The now called Ajuka yelled. Pardon. Rizevim, he actually broke the code. Right. Ajuka asked. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but no, he didn't break any codes. Graphia explained. What? Then who opened the gate? Ajuka asked again. My new master did. Graphia answered. Your new what? Okay, no, that's not important now. May I meet your master? Ajuka asked again. I don't see why not. He seems bored, he just moved here today. Graphia said and got. You do realize he could be put on trial and maybe even death for intruding Lord Satan's territory, right? Ajuka explained. Is that so? Anyways, come on, I'll take you to him now. Graphia said as she opened the gate letting Ajuka in. After Ajuka entered, he walked towards Graphia and teleported with her to the castle, since it would take like 30 minutes if they walked by foot. And so they entered the castle that Ajuka normally would have stood in awe of, but had more important business to attend to. So, Graphia. Yes. Who is your new master? And why did you leave Rizevim? Isn't it in your blood to serve him? Ajuka asked. To answer your second question, I'm here because Lord Rizevim gave me to my new master as a housewarming gift. Graphia answered. And what about the first question? The real question is, will you believe me when I tell you? Obviously I've never thought of you as a liar. So who is it? Ajuka asked again. Very well. My new master is Lord Satan. Graphia answered with unwavering calmness. What? Can you repeat that? I don't think I understood you correctly. I thought you said Lord Satan. Ajuka said in disbelief. Then you heard correctly. Wait. Take me to him immediately. Is it the Lord Satan? The one who went missing after the Great War? The one pronounced dead? Ajuka asked. First of all, where do you think I'm taking you? Second of all, not exactly. Graphia answered. What do you mean not exactly? Well, it's not Lord Satan. It's his son. Wait. He has a son? Ajuka asked, still in disbelief. Yes. Then let us hurry. I cannot wait to meet this man. Ajuka yelled as he hurried Graphia. They walked until they came to a massive stairwell, and they walked up every floor of the mansion until they got to the very top of the castle. There was one door there, that's all, there was nothing else at this altitude in the entire castle. Knock knock. Yes. A child's voice came from the other side of the door, surprising Ajuka. Iseei, you have a visitor. Graphia spoke through the door. Come in. Iseei yelled. As Ajuka walked in, he was in awe of the room for a second before focusing in on Iseei. The room was the size of a small house, and was furnished absolutely amazingly, with a bed absolutely massive, a balcony, and massive window that was basically the entire wall. But outside of the window showed mountains and forest, and just the beauty of nature. Who are you? Iseei asked. Iseei, this here is Ajuka Beelzebub, one of the 4 Satans at the moment. He wanted an audience with you. Graphia answered. Wait. This is Satan's son. Ajuka explained. Why, yes. Mr. Beelzebub. Iseei said timidly. Oh, please call me Ajuka. May I call you Iseei? Ajuka asked. Sure. Alright, may I ask you a question, Issei? Ajuka said. Yes. Where's your father? Ajuka asked, and Issei's expression changed drastically. Out of all the questions, Ajuka. Graphia said. What? What did you expect me to ask? No, it's fine. I'll answer for Issei. It's not a good topic to talk about right now. Graphia explained. Very well. Issei's father, or how you know him as Lord Satan, was killed a week ago. What? So he was alive. How was he killed? Ajuka demanded answers. From what Issei has said is after the Great War an unknown group spent years and years making a poison for people with even a resemblance of Lord Satan's power. That was when they found Lord Satan and Issei, and they wanted to test the poison on Satan himself. Graphia explained. Still, that doesn't explain it all. Lord Satan wouldn't simply get poisoned. Ajuka said. That's because he was protecting me. The killer had a blade dipped in the poison and went to kill me. That's when my father caught the blade and ended up getting cut. And so the poison was in his bloodstream. Issei explained. I see. He died protecting his son. An honorable death. Ajuka said. And after that, they surely wouldn't have let you go so easily. Well, they didn't. I escaped from our house and ran in the woods from them for a week. That's when they cornered me and I had to kill them all. Then shortly after that I met Graphia and passed out. That's the last thing that happened before I woke up in Mr. Lucifer's house. Issei explained. I see. Wait. Did you kill around 150 men? And were you on top of a hill at the time? Ajuka asked as something clicked in his head. Yes. So that was you. What was? Yesterday we all felt a massive surge of power in the human world that strongly resembled Lord Satan's. But to think Rizevim beat all of us to the chase. Ajuka said in God. All of us? Issei asked. When we got to the site after Graphia picked you up, we weren't the only ones. There were angels and fallen angels too. Ajuka explained. I see. Yeah. But this is going to bring an uproar when people figure out Satan's son has come to the underworld. Ajuka said. Hey Issei. Can I have you keep quiet of who you are for now? At least until you're older, and you can take care of yourself. Ajuka asked. Sure. Awesome. I'm not telling you to keep your existence a secret, I'm just making sure you don't go around telling the whole world. Trust me, this will help you and I both. Ajuka explained. Alright. And in exchange I will give you 5 wishes that can be cashed in at any time. Ajuka explained. Deal. Okay, my work here is done. I won't tell anyone what happened unless one of the Satans ask me in person. I expect you to keep up your side of the deal too, Issei. Ajuka said as he summoned a teleportation circle. I will. Issei said as he waved goodbye. Oh. One last thing. Ajuka explained. Huh. What happened? Issei asked. I just thought of something. Since you are of nobility, would you like your own evil pieces so you can build a peerage? Ajuka asked. Evil pieces. A peerage. Questioned Issei. Oh, that's right, you wouldn't know what they are. Well, after the Great War, which I will tell you about another day, we were left in a predicament since it's very hard for pureblood devils to have children. And even if they could have them, we lost too many to do something like that. We needed an alternative. And fast. So I, along with a few of my best assistants, made a system called Evil Peace System. In short, high class or devils born of nobility can attain the evil pieces to create servants of other races. You can even revive the dead. But sadly, you have to do it within a certain time limit. And once you create a peerage, you can play in the rating games. And the rating games are a form of entertainment for people and a battle for honor for all participating. But it could be very dangerous, so I suggest you don't participate in any for a while. So any questions? Ajuka explained. A few. Shoot. Ajuka wanted to answer the questions. Okay, first question. How long after their death can you revive them? Iseei asked, thinking about his father. It depends how strong your soul is. I would say somebody of God class, at most a day. So yeah, you're going to want to revive them pretty fast if you do want to. And before you ask, yes, you can revive a god, but you have to be on a godly level to do that, otherwise the evil pieces will reject them. So only a handful of devils have the power to do that. And even then it's mainly the lower tier gods. Ajuka explained. I see. And about them being my servants, doesn't that mean you could force them? Wouldn't that be bad? Couldn't they turn on you? Well, the only way you could force them is if you revived them. And yes, there are those who force them into servanthood. And there are some who treat their servants bad. But there are some, like this noble devil family called the Gremory, that treat their servants like family. And about them turning on you. Yes. They can. These are the ones we call stray devils. They either kill or attack and flee their masters, and are marked strays. Ajuka explained. And what happens to them? They are killed on sight. What? Yes. But what if they did it to protect themselves? What if they did it for good? Iseei questioned. Yes, there are some cases of that. Sadly, it isn't our place to judge them. We have our rules, and if there isn't any solid evidence, we cannot do a thing. Ajuka said. What if somebody made the stray into their servant? Iseei asked. If you use your evil pieces. That could work. But it isn't foolproof. So I don't suggest it. Ajuka said in thought. And what if they put them into a servant in other means? Iseei asked as he remembered something of his father's memory. Oh. And that is. Well. It's kind of hard to explain. A few minutes before my father died, he did something so I would get all of his memories of his powers and so on. And I remembered something he did to make some people into his servant, and they literally can't say no to you if he demands it. Iseei explained. That could work. They might test the so-called stray. But if they pass the test, it could work. But how does it work? Well, something in his blood and mind works like a contract. Then there is some magic chant to finalize the contract. Iseei explained. Actually, I think I read something about that in ancient book. Really? Could I see it? I mean, if I can, could I? I know how to do my father's magic, but I don't know how to. It's hard to explain, like I can do it, I just don't know how to do it. Sure. I'll look at what I can find about his magic, but sadly nobody actually knows how to use his type of magic. It isn't taught anywhere, and he never told anyone. Ajuka explained. Thank you. No problem. So back to where we were, would you like your own set of evil pieces? Ajuka asked. I guess. I mean, I may need them in the future. And if you're offering. Iseei said. Alright, I'll come back in a few days to bring you those books and your pieces when they are ready. Alright, I'll be looking forward to it. Iseei exclaimed as he waved goodbye again. Ajuka then made a magic circle to teleport away. But as he was teleporting, he thought, maybe this kid could be accepted for a king piece. I'll have to test him. That night. Iseei is currently trying to sleep, but can't. His memories keep coming back to haunt him. Nightmare after nightmare torturing him in his sleep. That was when Graphia came up as she heard the ruckus. In only her nightgown, she peered through a crack in the door, only to be frightened by the sight of Iseei rolling around the bed in pain. But it wasn't physical pain. It was emotional and mental. Then she remembered something she read in a book before. When somebody is having a nightmare, it's best to lay next to them and cuddle next to them. What book did she read? The world will never know. Simply because she destroyed it after she read it. She then laid next to Iseei on the bed and brought him into a hug. Shh. Iseei, it's okay, Grafia said as she patted his head. Almost instantaneously he stopped flailing around and looked peaceful. If one saw this scene, they would think it was a mother comforting her son. And so they both went to sleep peacefully. 7 years later. We now see a teenage boy with brown hair and an aura that could only be described as magnificent, regale, beautiful, pure elegance, and yet horrifying, and ferocious. And that was what you felt when he was sleeping. As he starts to wake up, his eyes flutter alive with his brown eyes peering through. As he got up to get out of bed, a hand shoots up to grab him by the wrist. Meow, Iseei. Don't go. 10 more minutes. An attractive naked young woman with a voluptuous figure, long black hair and hazel gold cat-like eyes groggily begged from his bed. Kuroka. I've got work to do, Iseei said stoically. Meow, how mean. Kuroka pouted with clearly fake sadness in her voice. I don't get why you keep trying, Kuroka. You know how he is. Another voice spoke up. Only this voice belonged to another naked voluptuous teen girl around Isei's age with silver hair just like Grafia's but had light blue eyes that Grafia didn't have. Yeah, you're probably right, Valley. But it doesn't hurt to try. Maybe one of these days he'll stay, Kuroka says as she goes back to sleep with Valley. Iseei then walks to the mirror and looks into it. These past 7 years he's gotten much taller. He stood at 6'1" and got much more muscular and attained several scars from a few endeavors. If you looked closely, you would see he is wearing the 2 rings from his father on his left and right middle fingers and the silver cross earring on his left ear, much to the dismay of the devils around him. But behind Iseei, something Iseei has grown accustomed to ignoring stands there. A dark version of Iseei standing behind him with jet black hair and jet black eyes, taunting him, throwing insults at him, and ridiculing him, doing all of that only to get attention. Most of the time Iseei can ignore it, but in some case scenarios that doesn't work. But Iseei quickly puts on his shirt and glances at a chessboard on his dresser. It would seem like a normal chessboard on one side, but on the other all the pieces were different. They were mutated. He quickly walked towards the door and opened it, only to wait for a second. Grafia. I'm going to need help, so get out of bed soon, Iseei said as Grafia shot up with a bad case of bedhead and a little drool where she was laying. I'll be down in a second, Iseei, Grafia said in her stoic voice as she jumped out of bed and put on her French maid attire. Iseei then walked through the halls he grew accustomed to over the years. Everything was basically the same, only now it was very well kept, unlike when he first arrived. So he kept walking down the corridors he's gotten lost in many times, that's how big the castle is. And finally he walked past the throne room and into a room with multiple bookshelves and a desk and a few monitors. And he sat down on a chair and started doing his work. Or should I say the odd jobs Ajuka let him do for future references. It was mainly political things, but sometimes he had to go in secret to eliminate a threat for him. He was sat there doing his thing for another 30 minutes until the doors flung open, revealing a tall, bespectacled woman with a voluptuous figure. She has tan skin, long brown hair tied into a bun with a headset, and purple eyes. Iseei. Have you agreed yet? The woman asked. Kateria. Would it hurt to not? Iseei asked as he looked up from his desk towards her. Well, have you? The now called Kateria asked while completely ignoring Isei's question. Have I what? Iseei asked, even though he pretty much knew the answer. Have you finally agreed on my marriage proposal? It would be a huge advantage to the underworld, and especially the old Satan faction, to have a child born from Satan's and Leviathan's bloodline. Yes, Kateria is one of the few people who know who Iseei really is. It never was a secret, he just didn't go waving around a flag telling everyone who he is. For the last time, Kate. First of all, I could care less about the old Satan faction and their problems. And second of all, I told you this way too many times, I'm not planning on marrying anyone anytime soon. Iseei said with his calm demeanor not wavering at all. Oh come on Iseei. Please. I'll be the best wife ever. Kateria begged. That's enough Miss Leviathan, can't you see you are disturbing Iseei? Grafia said as she walked in with Kuroka and Valley close behind. Exactly. And I'll be his wife. Either way. But I don't mind if he has multiple meow. Kuroka said as she walked towards Iseei and wrapped her arms around his neck and hugged him from behind. No, I will be his wife. This time Valley exclaimed as she hugged his arm. Oh. Are you two forgetting who told me they were going to marry me when they were a child? Grafia asked with her normal tone, yet a small blush appearing. And so a fight over Iseei happened, with Iseei stuck in the middle. They could have fought for much longer, but they felt an extremely ticked off aura emanate from Iseei. And so they got the hint and quickly apologized and left the room, leaving Iseei by himself. Iseei went back to his work until he was interrupted by his phone signaling there was a text message. It read, "Yo, Iseei, I was thinking and thought it would be a good idea if you went to school. It would help you a lot with people skills and so on for future reference. Anyways, text me back if you do want to, I'll help you out with it. I already have a school in mind. 2 friends of mine have sisters who go there. From Ajuka Beelzebub. Maybe I need a change of pace," Iseei said aloud. And plus, I feel like things could get a lot more fun, Iseei said as he smirked to himself. Alright. Now that was my first ever prologue. I thought it would be a good thing to do as a first chapter / teaser. I don't know, tell me what you think about it, would help and motivate me a lot if you told me your thoughts, good or bad. And this is my longest chapter 1 have ever made. How crazy is that? 10k plus. Now you may be thinking, why did he say listen to rock dramatic music? Well, that's because when I read stuff I have background music and such to kind of set the mood, type of thing. Now it doesn't have to be rock dramatic, just music that could create the right atmosphere. But once again, it's up to you if you do it. I just put that because that's what I always do XD, and when I write stuff depending on the scenario I'll have different types of music XD, so yeah. That's that. Anyways, for all of you who may be thinking why are you being lazy and just skipping those 7 years? I'm not. I thought for this story I would go with more of a flashback type setting because my other story, The Wolf's Successor, I kind of explained everything so I wouldn't need flashbacks. Now as for Iseei not being affected by the Silver Cross, that will be explained further in future chapters. Now very important. This Iseei is based off of Rai or Cadicitrama de Razel, from Noblesse the webtoon comic. Now I say based off, he isn't him, so don't make me repeat myself. But I do suggest you to look him up. It would let you have a better grasp on how Iseei is. But if you don't want to, that's fine, it shouldn't change anything drastically. Now yes, this will be a harem fanfic, but I'm planning on having more development and so on. Unlike my other story where it all just happens, this will be a more serious story, unlike my other story that has more of a fun / action / romance, and a little bit of comedy. This will be more drama / action / romance. Harem suggestions are welcome, don't know how many I'll use, but yeah, P, and in case you didn't tell, Grafia, Fembali, Kuroka, and Kateria are in the harem. Grafia is not Surzek's wife. I think I made that perfectly clear. Well, maybe not, but yeah, she's not his wife. And I need suggestions for a peerage. It's not going to happen immediately, but definitely will happen. Now before you ask, why did Ajuka ask about giving Iseei a king piece? Well, to answer that, I got all kings got a king piece, but no, that is incorrect. They are forbidden pieces that were made when the rating games first started that could boost the king's overall power but could kill the user if they aren't right for it. And so they were banned because they were afraid people would use them to pursue their evil desires. And there are only 9 unused king pieces in the DxD universe. Now I will be having people in this story from other series. So if you have anyone in mind, tell me. I will mostly be adding people from other series for the harem and for villain Suye. Also, I need to know what Valley's full female name should be. Valerie. Give me your suggestions. Now, just because a girl may have a crush on iseei does not mean she's in the harem yet. Like, let's say when he goes to Kwa and Rais has a crush on him or something, that does not mean she's in the harem automatically. But Rais will most likely be in the harem p. Now I don't know how often I'm going to be posting this because I want to have more long chapters, instead of a bunch of 2K chapters p, but I don't know if they will be as long as this one, depends on how I feel. But they will be longer than my other stories chapters. Now one last thing. What did you guys think of the summary? Should I change it? Is it good? I want it to grab everyone's attention. That's why I spent so much time on this chapter. Sadly, I didn't think of writing the first chapter extremely careful on my other story, but I did try pretty hard on this story. So yeah, give me your feedback. It's my drug to keep writing. Now if you have any questions, suggestions, or critics, I would love for you to tell me. Trust me, every review and PM motivate me to write more. I love seeing your feedback. Peace. Disclaimer: best read with